a bunch of people were able to join. So I'm assuming I'm sending out these things correctly. So I guess we'll get going. Well, since it's only you, I mean, do you want to talk about anything specifically? I was going to talk about safety and stuff like that, and I have some websites to talk about weather and things, but do you want to talk about anything specific before that?
No, nothing specific. I was just gonna kind of see what you covered and take notes on what I don't know.
Okay, cool. And I record these too. So have you been accessing like the members area and everything? What do you think about all the stuff that's in there?
Pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, like I said, for me, a lot of this stuff is old hat.
Mhm.
So for someone new looking at it, I don't know how they would interpret it.
Okay. Good deal. All right. So have you been able to do any of the training hikes at all, or have you been kind of knocked out?
I did that Bear Peak, but I was so, or the Green Mountain one.
Yeah.
I was just so out of it for days.
Yeah.
I went and got the blood test. I think a few days later, he said something's wrong. It's been wrong. We need to do a round of blood tests. And since then, I haven't done much. I can't.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. All right.
Which is frustrating because I don't do sitting around well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel your pain for sure. So, okay. Well, let's hope for a speedy recovery. Let's hope you can. Yeah, basically what I'm going to keep doing is, this is 6 weeks, but after that, I'm going to keep doing like classes and just figure something else out for people who still find value in this type of stuff. So, anyway, yeah, so this is week 3. I was going to talk all about safety, and then I know you're not up for it this week, but Estes Cone and Mount Royal are definitely worth checking out at some point when you're feeling better.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the 13er hike is on the 8th of July, and the 14er hike is on the 15th of July. So, yeah.
I've got some catching up to do if I can.
Yeah, I have a feeling, though, you'll be strong enough to go, I think, regardless, just because it seems like you're pretty fit to begin with. So,
yeah, I'm hoping for that.
Yep. So my computer screen is just, oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so all is safety today. And I want to talk about just the 8 rules, my 8 golden rules of mountain safety, which are to train hard and get fit, always start early, eat correctly, always carry your survival kit, choose your partners wisely or go solo, not at all. Never get separated from your pack, and when in doubt, turn around, and then try to plan 1 week in advance. So all this stuff, or some of the stuff we've covered. So the training hikes, train hard and get fit. That's the training hikes basically. So we're consistently doing that. We've talked about starting early, but I have some more specifics, and I have some specifics for eating right. And then in the gear session, we talked about the survival kit and things like that. But I can refresh you on that if you need to. And then I'll talk a little bit about partners, and then I have a couple other things. And I think the main thing here is weather. Especially, people who have just moved to Colorado, like weather is like a big deal, and everybody should really know about that. So I have some resources to show weather and snowpack and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I've learned about the weather really quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yep. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with, so I want to just put a lot of things to rest about, Colorado. So before I talk about the stuff that will hurt you, I'll talk about the stuff that will not hurt you in Colorado, or at least won't kill you. So I think I said this before, but there are no brown bears in Colorado, so you can just leave the bear spray at home. Most animals, with the exception of, I think elk might be the most dangerous because elk and moose, because people just kind of try to get up and take their picture with them.
Yeah, that won't be me.
Yeah.
I've had enough encounters with wildlife. That's enough.
Yeah, exactly. So if you just keep your distance and, respect their space, you're not gonna get hit by them or anything. And then, bear are definitely there, coyotes are there, mountain lions are there. Mountain lions, you see signs of them, but it's pretty rare to actually see them. They're definitely seeing you, but they want nothing to do with you. Actually, I don't know if there's ever been a death based on bear or mountain lion or anything else. And interesting, wolves just got reintroduced to San Juans, which is pretty cool, but they're of no concern too. And then rattlesnakes are a concern in summer, but they typically live below 8,000 feet, and 50% of bites are actually poisonous. And
Yes,
they're
I've
not fatal.
bite before, so I'm familiar.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, but yeah, if you do have a dog, they'll definitely kill you, or they can kill the dog for sure, depending on the size of the dog. And then there's no, you have to worry about elevation sickness, but you don't have to worry about like pulmonary edema or cerebral edema here. It's just too low elevation. So, if you're not fit, you're going to get headaches and things like that. So the key is just to stay hydrated and eat well, stuff like that. So, in my opinion, you have a better chance getting killed on your road bike, just because you have to worry about other people driving. And you're probably with me. Like if you know what you're doing with climbing, like it's pretty safe for the most part, right? Like you have to rely on yourself, and your partner basically.
Yeah.
So so if you just follow the basic rules, you can stay pretty safe. And then another question a lot of people ask me is about Lyme's disease and disease from mosquitoes. And I did some research and I pulled up this map from the CDC. And really, there's only been a few cases of Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So yeah, there's ticks, yeah, there's mosquitoes every once in a while, but there's no dog ticks, which causes the majority of the disease. And mosquitoes, we're pretty fortunate. Colorado is kind of a unique place. Like there's not a lot of bugs, which is really nice. There's mosquitoes in a few pockets, but they're far and few between. So on most summer days, it's nice without being attacked by mosquitoes. If you go to like Northeast or Oregon, you can really get crushed by them. So you can see that there's really not much going on in Colorado, which is nice. So they're more of a nuisance, really. So all right, so what can kill you in Colorado? Getting struck by lightning is the number one thing. I think the most people have died in Colorado based on being struck by lightning. So wake up early and get below tree line before 1 p.m. We'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about weather apps. Avalanches and snowfields have killed people for sure, and I'll show a couple pictures about that and show some graphics. Rock falls. So I was on Long's Peak actually, and I was climbing it's called the home stretch. It's like the last basic part to the mountain. And I was climbing with some friends, and somebody from above actually dropped a water bottle, like a full water bottle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it almost hit a few people because it kind of narrows out there. So it's actually, you have to worry about rock fall, but you also have to worry about people dropping stuff. So important to have a helmet and important to stay above other climbers, basically, if you can. And obviously don't knock stuff down on them. So, yeah, and the difference between the difference between helmets, right? Like there's impact from above and impact from the side.
Yeah, it's a difference between a helmet and a climbing helmet.
Yeah, like a mountaineering helmet or rock helmet. So yeah, there's definitely a basic difference between those. And then, climb within your ability, which we just talked about. Just be careful when you're trad climbing, because it is really, because you're going to start off on like 5.4 and 5.5. You're going to cruise it, But you got to place gear. So, sometime we should climb when you're up for it. We should go and climb like the first Flatiron. It's really fun.
Everyone keeps asking me to go climb the Flatirons, but then we get these 90-something degree days and everybody bails because, it's in the sun.
Yeah. So I actually go and I start climbing at 5 in the morning before it gets too hot. It's actually not bad.
Really?
Yeah, if you go that early. You don't want to be there at noon. There's no way. It turns into an oven. But
yeah.
You get there pretty early. Like you can simul climb a lot of it. and the upper pitches are pretty easy. It's just a really fun route. It's like 10 or 11 pitches, but it's one of the classic routes in Colorado. It's pretty fun.
I'd totally be up for it.
Yeah, we should do that sometime. So, okay, and then getting lost. Route finding is a big thing, obviously. So you got to study the route. I think we talked a little bit about this before. Leave a note, and definitely carry the gear you need to stay overnight. So I am going to be updating the 14er spreadsheet with rockfall potential and hiking time. So that's one thing I didn't originally include on there. So I'll make another update to that as well. All right, cool. So these are general guides to start times. So just in general, and you probably noticed a little bit about this. So this is, just keep in mind, this is in general, and this is what I've noticed from, years of climbing in the mountains. But from 2 a.m. to about 10 a.m., it stays pretty clear, meaning you'll get up in the morning out of your tent, and for the most part, I would say like 80 to 90% of the time that I'm out there, you're going to have like a nice, beautiful, sunny morning for the most part, right? And then at 10 a.m. to noon or so, that's when you start seeing like clouds start to build. And then from 12 to 1, that's when all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, these clouds are building quick. Like they come out of nowhere almost, and they turn into storm clouds. And then from 1 to 5 p.m. Is really the highest potential for storms. So the problem is you'll be climbing, all these Longs Peak, for example, the storms typically build from west to east. And so you're climbing towards the west, so you don't actually see the storms until you get around the backside of the mountain. And by that part, you're like 7 miles in. And so, there could be some pretty bad consequences. So that's what I've kind of observed over the years. And after 6 p.m., it's generally calmer. But have you seen the same type of thing, or have you noticed anything different?
I noticed to be a little bit off from where I've been by a few hours, an hour or two. But yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So, my general rule of thumb is to get below tree line by 1 p.m. And tree line here is 11,500 feet typically. So where are you from again, Sherry?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, okay. So did you know, I'm going to ask you a trivia question. Did you know that why tree line is different in different areas of the state?
No.
Because it has to average 50 degrees in order for things to grow. So like in the Adirondacks, it's like 4,000 feet. In Colorado, it's like 11,500. So it has to do with temperature, which is pretty interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. So
it is
anyway.
Interesting.
What's that?
That is interesting.
Yeah. So just some trivia. Okay, so these are also, guidelines. So 4 to 6 miles round trip hike. The latest you want to start, and I'm talking about in the mountains. I'm not talking about like the Front Range or anything like that. So when you're going to a 14er, the latest I would start is 7 a.m. If you're doing a 6 to 10 mile hike, the latest I would start is 7 a.m. Latest I would start 6 a.m. here, and then 10 to 15 mile hike like Longs Peak. I would start 4 a.m. at the absolute latest.
Do you have a walking speed that corresponds with that for those who walk faster or slower to judge?
Yeah, good question. So I'm actually developing and I have one set, but I need to refine a little bit. But I actually have like a calculator that does hiking time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to put it together. But basically what I take into account is round trip distance, vertical gain, and then the class or snow, and that all gets put into equation for hiking time. And so what I've actually noticed is, and this will be on the next update, what I've actually noticed is that vertical gain actually takes, so if you have round trip distance of like 10 miles with only 2,000 feet, and you have a vertical gain, and you have another hike that's 10 miles but like 5,000 feet, it's going to take you almost exponentially longer to do that because of the vertical gain, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense. So I actually have an equation that I'm kind of playing around with, and I'm testing it against my hiking time, and it's getting pretty accurate. So I need to get that out to you guys. But yeah, this will hopefully help. But in general, what I would plan for is like 1.5 miles an hour. which doesn't sound very fast, and it's not above tree line, but that's just how long things take with stopping and everything else.
Okay,
So,
that's what I've always wondered, because when I was out east, it was 3 miles an hour,
yeah. Yep.
pretty fast, and here it doesn't quite seem that way.
No, because of all the different factors, because it takes a lot longer to hike at elevation. You're out of breath.
Yeah, I just like a good estimate is that when I go to set out, I want to hit the peak at lunchtime so I can have lunch up there. And I'm having trouble doing that.
Yeah, so I would say if you're moving 3 miles an hour out here, you are moving. You are hauling. You are absolutely hauling. So I would plan on 1.5 miles an hour in general. So, but I'm trying to like create a pretty cool spreadsheet to do that. So to help people out a little bit more, basically. So. Yeah. All right. Do you have any experience with avalanches or avalanche training or anything like that, or no?
None at all.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'll tell you a quick story, and it's really a sad story. But a couple of years ago, there was in 2015, there was. Are you familiar with Loveland Pass?
Yeah. Actually, I think I kind of am.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, Loveland Pass is right before the Eisenhower Tunnel, basically. But anyway, there's a ski resort above there's Loveland Ski Resort, and above that there's some decent backcountry skiing, and they were teaching actually. All these professionals came out and were teaching an avalanche course, and 5 or 6 snowboarders that were using the backcountry setup decided to hike up this one basically gully, and they triggered an avalanche, and 5 out of the 6 of them died.
Holy cow!
Yeah, and this is an actual image from it. I didn't take this picture, but the crown was absolutely huge. This is a huge crown for Colorado. Like I think it was like anywhere from 6 to 8 feet that broke off.
That's a massive avalanche.
Absolutely massive. So I guess the point is like, you can be a professional and still get taken out by these things. That's how dangerous they are here. So December through April is the most dangerous for sure. And actually the most triggered are by snowmobilers, and then followed by backcountry skiers, and then finally snowshoers. And so you need a beacon, shovel, and probe. And I would suggest, like, do you like skiing and things like that, or?
Oh no.
No?
Yeah,
okay. Do you plan on doing like winter hikes or things like that?
I do plan on finding something to do in the winter, but it won't be skiing or snowboarding.
Oh, okay. Well, if you do decide to go out hiking, get a hold of this. It's a nonprofit. They're called Friends of Berthoud Pass, and they do free avalanche awareness classes on top of Berthoud Pass. Really well worth it. Yeah. They're not Avalanche 1 and Avalanche 2 classes. Those you have to be like certified. I've taken Avi 1 and Avi 2, and you have to pay a bunch of money, which is well worth it. But this is just an avalanche awareness class, and they get you outside for free. So I know the registration fills up really quick. So if you're looking to do that, maybe put a note in your calendar or something for later on in the year to look at that. So, yep. Okay, cool. So this will hopefully be the most useful part of this exercise. It's basically just how to avoid bad weather. So I start to plan like basically a week in advance, just because there's so many different mountain systems in Colorado that it might be crappy in the Front Range, but maybe a couple hours away, it'll forecast to be a lot better. So what I start to do during the beginning of the week on Mondays is I just take a look at my iPhone to start off with, and I plug in different areas of the state on there, different towns, and I just kind of flip through, and on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll decide where I'm going to go, just based on that kind of broad look. And then what I do after that is, do you use Weather Underground? Have you heard of that? Or?
I do. I use their services.
Okay. So you know the point, like it has the hourly forecast and things like that. I'll just bring it up just in case. So there's Yeah. Let me know if you can still see my screen too.
No, it kind of went, oh, you're opening Weather Underground.
Yeah. And if this just takes too long, I'll,
Yeah, pulled up.
you got it? Okay, cool. Yeah, so, what I like about this, it's got the hourly forecast, which is pretty cool. So you've already seen this though, you know how to use this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm used to using that kind of stuff for traveling to go climbing.
Okay, yeah, all right. So, yeah, okay, so, all right, maybe some other tools then. This is a pretty cool map, and I'll put this all on the members area, but this is basically wind conditions and things like that, which I find pretty helpful. This thing takes forever to load just because I'm running so many programs, I think.
Okay.
You can basically this has the temperature and the wind direction and everything, and you can run it over like a 24-hour period basically, which is pretty neat.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah. Yep. And then let's see, another one. Have you visited OpenSnow?
Just to take a look at it.
Okay.
But I've never used it to plan something.
Yeah. All right. And this is pretty cool. This is NOAA service, so you can go to a specific area, pinpoint.
Yeah, that I've used.
Yeah. So that's really nice app. Oops. Let's see. OpenSnow is good for general snow forecast, but these two tools are pretty neat. So if you're gonna hike like early season conditions, this shows the actual snowpack in Colorado, which is pretty neat.
Okay.
Let me know if you've seen this map before. So this is pretty interesting because now this is a really good tool to tell where you can hike, right? Because these numbers are percentages, so like percentage of actual snowpack. What's insane is I don't know, maybe this isn't accurate or something, but this is 562% above snowpack. Which
that's a high number.
It's a high number, right? So I know it's high, but anyway, so this changes every day. And it can tell you like where the snow is. So if you remember the map that I showed, I think last week, this is basically the Front Range, right? And this is the Sawatch for the most part. So that would tell me that the Sawatch has a lot less snow. So the 14ers in the Sawatch might be the best places to go if you're looking to avoid snow. So that's what this map can help with. And then if you're going down the San Juans, there's definitely still going to be snow. So this map is pretty helpful for those type of purposes. So, and this also means really good snowpack and water for Denver, which is always nice.
Climbing Boulder Canyon yesterday, and there's just so much water coming down.
Oh, it's crazy, right? Yeah. And this is just another way to look at it. So currently we're still 112%, which is pretty good. That's still really good, and that still tells you you're about a bunch over still. So still good snow conditions, which is awesome. All right. So those are the tools that I had, and since you use them all, I'll kind of skip through that. And then this is probably just a review. I mean, so if you rock climb, you understand how to use partners, right? But for those who don't, what I encourage, especially during classes like this, is for the first 6 months that you're starting to hike, make sure you're picking people with the same interests. So, obviously if you're a rock climber and the other person's a hiker, you're not going to get the same benefit. Or if somebody's like a hiker and the other person's a backpacker, they might not get the same benefit of working together. And then make sure you're similar comfort zone, you have similar fitness level, you go at the same pace, and you have the same goals and motivation. Otherwise, it can get kind of like especially just the first 6 months, I think, that you start doing all this stuff, it can get kind of ugly if you don't. And then after that, after you start getting more comfortable,
I think,
start going with faster people.
yeah, I think people are too embarrassed or too shy to just be blunt and ask about fitness and pace and what they're comfortable with. And that's really important to just put it out there, and it's better to know up front than to find out later on.
Yeah, yeah. And that's another reason why I kind of put this together the way I did, because I wanted to try to get people with similar kind of skill levels together in hopes that they kind of hike together for the training stuff.
Yeah.
So that was the intent anyway. Yeah, it worked pretty well last year. A lot of people got along pretty well. So, yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going solo too. I mean, I prefer it a lot of the times. So it sounds like you do too.
I do like doing solo, but it would be nice to have partners now and then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially for climbing. Yeah. Yep. All right. Okay. So water, it is extremely dry here, as you probably know. So really important to take 2 to 3 liters with you on at least every trip. And make sure if you do have a dog, you bring water for the dog as well. Hydrate the night before. Like I can't stress this enough. Like I try to drink. It's like nosebleed dry in this state, and especially if you're coming from like the East Coast or something where it's a lot more humid. You don't feel as hot, as you do with the humidity, but you're still going to lose a ton of water. So I actually take like this big Nalgene around with me every day, and I try to drink one of those Nalgenes, which helps. And then food, you're going to burn a ton of calories on 14ers, especially if you're just starting out and it's, say, colder or something, you burn more calories that way. So eat plenty in the morning and throughout the day. Eat foods with high protein and fiber, and avoid sugars and goos and gel blocks and things like that if you can. I mean, we're all in a hurry, so I throw some of those in my bag too. But if you have the choice, grab stuff that's higher in protein. And actually, the more you eat, the less you'll feel sick at elevation. So it's kind of, I mean, you don't feel like you want to eat anything, but it's still super important that you do. And then I take supplements as well. I use this thing called Green Vibrance, which is pretty awesome. It's like you put in like a smoothie or something, and it's got all the essential organic, GMO-free nutrients that you need for the day, probiotic and everything. And then science shows that there's actually nothing wrong with drinking some coffee in the morning. It acts as a diuretic unless you exercise. So I'm going to be putting my full food list on the members area the next time too. So, and then the last thing I want to cover today, I just want to stress the importance of saying that it's okay to turn around, especially when you first start hiking. And so when should you turn around? And really the answer is whenever you feel like it. But I mean, what are the signs that you should turn around? And that's if you plan your hike and you're going at like, you plan to be out there for 4 hours, you're out there for 8 hours or something like that, or it's taking a lot longer to get the tree line. If you're seeing clouds build and you're lower than tree line, definitely turn around. If you come to a steep snowfield without the proper gear, or you're hiking up a gully and it's snowing, turn around. If you end up on terrain that you weren't expecting, like class 3 or class 4, you can always turn around there. If you feel any sharp pains in your foot, ankle, or knees, that's a bad sign. And I'm actually glad that you're at least considering taking a rest. So that's kind of nice. But keep an eye on your body. And then this is supposed to say lose, not loose. When you start to lose the trail and you don't know how to navigate. So a lot of times, like in early season conditions, and you'll still see it a little bit, like there'll be these big snow drifts and you might lose the trail for a while. And that's okay if you can kind of lose it and find it again. But if you keep doing that, and snow keeps building, like you want to turn around for sure, especially if you don't have a map and compass. And then if you throw up due to altitude sickness, so it's okay to get headaches and things like that. But if you're starting to throw up, turn around. You're not going to die or anything, but definitely turn around. And if you run out of water, and there's no nearby source, turn around for that. And then if your group size is too large or you guys are just moving too slow, turn around for that as well. So between like the survival gear stuff that I talked about last time and this stuff, that's basically what I had to cover this time around. So do you have any questions or anything else you want to talk about?
I do not.
Yeah? Okay. All right, cool. Well, I will record this, and I'll just send a note to everybody, see if everybody is just not wanting to join or if there was some technical problems. So
Okay.
Cool. Well, I hope you feel better.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely let me know. Keep me updated if you're going to go on those hikes or not.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.